My heart is moved by all that I cannot save. So much has been destroyed, I have to cast my lot with those who age after age, perversely with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. These words by Adrian Rich to begin our service today, where we're thinking and considering and holding in our hearts the idea of commitment, all that we are committed to and all that we hope for our world and for ourselves. We welcome you here today, however it is you arrive, and whatever's going on in your life. Maybe you've got Christian roots and are excited about this is Palm Sunday and Easter is on the horizon. Or maybe you have Jewish roots and this is Passover for you, one of those high holy days. Maybe this is just spring and things are budding, and despite the allergies, you're excited. Ostara is one of the goddesses that you're thinking about at this time of year as the buds are blooming. Maybe you're feeling stuck this morning. Stuck like, a large cargo ship on the Suez Canal. Or maybe you're feeling free this morning. Free like someone who has their second vaccine and is 2 weeks out and is beginning to cautiously hug again. However it is you find yourself here, we welcome you here this morning. All the cultures, all the skin tones, all the shapes and sizes, we come together to create a unique tapestry of all of us together. All of our different ways of understanding the holy, each unique to each one of us in relationship. All the ways that we experience gender identity and sexuality, all the different ways that we show up in the world and explore and claim who we are and wonder about what it is we are committed to. We welcome you here in this space, as we know the commitments that are shared oftentimes are commitments that are stronger. We welcome you here. On this day, we have a special commitment happening, as Chris and Flora Patrick are making a commitment to each other. So we might go a little bit longer than an hour, but oh, what a joyous reason to do so, and a celebration it is. We welcome you here. We welcome you here. We, all of us, welcome you, each of us, here.
I'm Tom Moore, here in Shevlin Park, and I'll be your chalice lighter today. Each morning, we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and give back. Dag Hammarskjöld. Have a great Sunday service.
Oh, hey, have a good day.
Please join in our chalice lighting response. Spirit of life, come
Unto me,
sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots of me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. My name is Chayla Sloper, and I'm the Congregational Life Facilitator, and I have today's announcements. And what a joy it is to be in this place, and how homesick it is that all of you are not here with us. And there will be a day, so this is a time of hope and our commitment to one another during these remaining months. This Wednesday, you do have an opportunity to come to this sanctuary. So on Wednesday, March 31st, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., you can come here. We'll be honoring social distancing. Please wear a mask, but it'll be an opportunity to see one another in 3D space and time, and to enjoy the beauty and the grounded quietness of this sanctuary. So that is this Wednesday. So as Reverend Scott mentioned, next weekend is Easter weekend, and so Amy Brock has told us about the virtual Easter egg hunt that begins on Saturday. There's information about that in the weekly email. Oh yes, if you're interested in receiving our weekly email, you can sign up. We have a virtual visitor card that you can use. It'll be in the chat. Let us know that you're visiting, and then sign up for our emails, and we send them out weekly to let you know what's going on in the life of the congregation. Also, relative to Easter, Amy was looking for artists that might be able to contribute for a special Easter story. So if you are an artist and would like to make a contribution of your art, contact Amy at amy@uufco.org. A couple of other exciting things. The UUFCO Endowment Committee has been working on how our long-term future looks. And if you would like to make a contribution to that, you can read more about the UUFCO Endowment Committee or the endowment work on our website. Look under the tab for giving. And there's also some information about them in the ACE as well. Next month, we're going to have our annual auction, and we're doing it online. The theme is what's behind the cover. And so there's a variety of creative suggestions of how you can use a book that has been meaningful to you, that lends itself to some sort of gift package, some opportunity to meet with others. So that will be on the weekend of April 23rd to 25th. And if you have questions or contributions, then contact auction@uufco.org. So I also want to bring your attention to General Assembly that's going to be in June. And our congregation has 7 delegates spots. And that means that you're given credentials to work on some of the business decisions that affect Unitarian Universalists all over, wherever we might be found. We have 3 delegates already in line, and if you are interested in going to General Assembly this year, contact me or Reverend Scott, and we'll figure out how to make that happen. And it's really a remarkable way to learn more about what Unitarian Universalists are doing, and also to have a voice in the future of what's happening. Before I pass the baton, I just want to thank you very much that last month's Greater Community Collection that we raised for the Warm Springs Water Infrastructure Project raised $3,289. So that was just a remarkable show, not only of generosity, which we've come to know in our congregation, but also for our Indigenous neighbors. But so this month's Greater Community Collection, we have Max Merrill, who will tell us about how the March GCC will be directed. So with that, I'll pass the baton to Max, but not without saying blessings on your day.
Good morning. My name is Max Merrill. It is my pleasure this morning to inform you that social justice at UUFCO is not only alive, but well and thriving. I would like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about what has been going on organizationally in social justice over the past year. First, all of the social justice project leaders have begun meeting regularly on a steering committee whose purpose is to coordinate the overall social justice program at UUFCO, including communication with the congregation, evaluation of new proposals, and review of the overall scope of the program. With the number of projects which are active at the present time, it was felt the team leaders should meet periodically to exchange ideas and plans for the future. The steering committee recently voted to add 3 new members to its group who are not running any social justice project, and their purpose is to relieve the project leaders from some administrative tasks that they currently perform. The new members will be primarily facilitators. Those new members are Marty Rudolph, Lily Alpak, and me. Our duties will be primarily in 4 areas. First, to assist new social justice projects to become a reality and establish procedures for social justice project applicants. Our aim is to ensure that new projects are successful. The recent Nourish project, which affords various opportunities to assist those in our communities who are struggling with hunger issues, is just one of the most recent examples of a new social justice endeavor. Second, we are to work with the steering committee in establishing the social justice budget for each fiscal year. After the budget committee sets the amount of our total social justice budget, the 3 of us will help allocate those monies among the various projects. Third, we will work to establish reliable ways in which to communicate with you, the congregation, about the happenings at social justice. Finally, we will be in charge of determining what one-time projects will be approved and have criteria established for making that determination. In short, it has been a time of excitement, growth, and change at social justice, and I urge you all to discover the many ways in which you can participate in these exciting projects. If you have new plans for a social justice project or just have questions, contact Marty, Lily, or me to get started. We will look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Amy Brock, Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. This month, we've been exploring what commitment means, and we've learned that there are different parts of commitment: curiosity, change, conscience, and compassion. But to really commit to something, we can't just know about these parts, we have to actually live them. When we change the way that we do things because of something that we believe, we sometimes say that we are embodying commitments. Embodying means that something is really important to us. Beliefs that we embody are a part of us in the same way that a hand or a chin or an ear might be. Others can't see our beliefs like we see those things, but we know that they're there. We can feel them. One of the things that I embody when I commit to doing something is love. So this morning, I'm going to add a heart on top of my heart so that it will represent my commitment to embodying love. You might imagine sticking another word or another value on your heart to remind you of something that you are committed to embodying. And today, as I share our story, whenever you hear the word embody, I invite you to touch your heart with me. Let's try it together. Embody. Embody. One more time. Embody. Thank you. I also need to let you know that our story today does mention owning other humans. And so at this time, I invite you to honor the truth that lives in your body when I say those words, and take some space if you need to. Maybe get some coffee or tea or juice and come back in a few minutes. Once upon a time, in our real world, there was a person named William Ellery Channing. William believed that church ideas should make sense with the things that we know to be true in the world, like things that science has proven to be true, or experiences that people share have happened to them. And he also believed that all people were good. And he used the word Unitarian to label other people who also believe these things. William not only believed that church ideas should make sense and that people's truths are important and that everyone is good in his head, he also embodied those things in his heart. When William was a young person, he was given a place to live for a little while with a family who owned other people. And this made William feel really, really sad because owning another person is not okay. We all deserve to move freely and make our own choices about what we want to do with our days. William was so committed to embodying his Unitarian values that he became a minister so that he could spend a lot of time helping people in his community. And everyone loved how William helped them. And it made William feel so good to be so loved by so many people. It feels good to be loved. But sometimes when we're really committed to embodying something, it means that we have to disappoint some of the people who might love us very much so that we can help others who maybe aren't feeling so loved in our world. You might have heard people talk about using their privilege before. And this is part of what it means to use our privilege in the world. William decided to write a book about how owning people was wrong because it hurt everyone. The fact that it ever happened in our country continues to hurt everyone in this country and around the world. People didn't like William's book. Owning people was something that a lot of people did at that time. And if many people feel okay about doing something, it's usually okay, right? No, just because a lot of people think that something is okay doesn't always mean that it is okay. That's why knowing what we believe and why we believe those things and being willing to change our beliefs when we get new information about something is really, really, really important. The people at William's church didn't like that he was embodying his commitment to Unitarian values. It made them feel bad that he didn't agree with them. And instead of exploring why it made them feel bad and maybe changing their minds, they decided to get really angry at William. And so William had to make a very hard choice. He chose to stop being their minister. He still loved them a lot, but he couldn't serve a church that didn't believe in being kind to others. I wonder if this made William feel really sad. Could you raise your hand or give a head nod if you've ever felt really sad before? I've felt really sad before. But I also wonder if maybe William felt peaceful about his decision to embody his values by letting his actions match them. Could you raise your hand or give a head nod if you've ever felt peaceful about something before? Yeah, I certainly have. Now raise your hand or give a head nod if you've ever felt two things at the same time. Yeah, that can happen. I bet William might have felt something like sadness and peacefulness, and maybe some other things too about his decision. But making choices because of our UU beliefs, like William Ellery Channing did, is exactly what we mean when we talk about embodying a commitment to our faith. Sometimes they might be really hard choices to make, and sometimes they might be easy choices, but our hearts know when we make the right choices. I wonder what things you might commit to embodying today. And so ends our time together. Let's all say our children's covenant. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I'm a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved.
There is much to give thanks for on this spring morning. Just the fact that it's spring is quite enough. The beauty of spring and nature's reminder that even the harshest of seasons, be they the seasons of our nature or the seasons of our life, will one day give way to new beauty and new possibility. We're thankful this morning of what's happening in our political world, at least some of it. Secretary Deb Haaland made history when she became the first Indigenous person in this country to serve as a cabinet secretary. We give thanks for the confirmation of Dr. Rachel Levine, the new Assistant Secretary to the Department of Health and Human Services. Dr. Levine is the first openly trans person to be confirmed by the Senate for a federal post. We're thankful for the holidays that have come and the holidays that are coming before us, this time of concentration and reflection. We give thanks for this, and we also know that there are griefs to hold as well this week. We pray this morning for the most recent victims of gun violence in Colorado. We pray for the politicians and gun lobbyists who enable this violence and continue to value power and profit over human life. We pray for our democracy, which right now, yet again, several states seek to pass legislation that limits voting access in ways that discriminate and make it more difficult for people of color to vote. There's much to be thankful for today and much to be hold in our heart with grief, and that is life. We hold these together. On March 31st is the Transgender Day of Visibility, and so today we lift up this special prayer by the Reverend Barb Grieve.
Prayer for Trans Day of Visibility. Blessed are the trailblazers who brought us this far and are still trailblazing, still celebrating. Blessed are the drag queens and kings who remind us to not take life too seriously. Blessed are the gender benders, non-binary, gender fluid, and third gender folk, those who challenge us to reframe our gender paradigms. Blessed are the young ones who present fearlessly from the start. Blessed are their parents who make space for freedom and love their children fiercely. Blessed are the siblings and relatives who educate, support, and love us as we are. Blessed are the genderqueer youth who are struggling and still persist. Blessed are the 90-year-olds just coming out and those who have been out decades. Blessed are those whose lives were cut too short. May their stories live on through us. Blessed are the survivors. May they keep on living. Blessed are the allies learning to be accomplices. Blessed are those gathered here, witnessing, learning, celebrating. May we all commit to continue showing up, fighting for justice, celebrating all the genders in life. Amen.
For all that we're thankful for in this world and for all that we grieve, we gather together and we create a space for our joys and sorrows here on Sunday morning. Certainly a sorrow in this past week was the passing of Cal Elshoff. Our hearts are with Alice Elshoff and her family. A certain joy that came out of that was honoring Cal's wishes and returning his body and committing it to the soil in a green burial yesterday in Eastern Oregon, a place that was close to Cal's heart and Alice's as well. At this time, we'll open up our chat, and if there's a joy or sorrow in your life that you'd like to lift up today, please feel free to type that in and know that it will be held in love by this community.
I'd like to start by sharing a joy that I have today to be able to be part of this very special service and the upcoming commitment ceremony of Chris and Flora. And when I think of Chris and Flora, Fred and my husband and I weren't in Oregon so very long, and we didn't know them very long at all. But what sticks in my mind is their kindness, their love, their welcoming spirit, their empathy, and their compassion, and their open hearts. And I know that they will have a wonderful life together, full of love and full of care for each other. And that just makes me so happy. So, as we share our joys and sorrows today, I'm going to play a song which I thought would be very appropriate, the words of which I think describes perfectly what Chris and Flora's life together will be like. It's a UU favorite, There Is a Love.
All right, I've got good news and I've got some bad news. Which do you want first, the good news or the bad news?
Bad news.
Bad news. All right, get it out of the way. The bad news is this. You can't do everything. You simply can't do everything. You can't save the entire world all by yourself. You won't be able to get to every project that you imagine before you die. Your dreams will probably outreach your ability to do every single one of them that pops into your head. And you can't, even though you want to, and your heart draws you to it, you can't dedicate yourself fully to 100 projects at the same time. That's the bad news.
So, where's the good news?
What's the good news?
The good news is this. You can't do everything. You can't save the world alone, and that's okay. You won't be able to get to every project that you dream of before you die, and that's okay too. It's impossible. You can't dedicate yourself fully to 100 causes, but you don't have to do that. It's okay. But what you do have to do is make some choices about what it is that you'll be committing yourself to. Paul Coelho writes, choosing a path meant to have missing out on others. She had a whole life to live, and she was always thinking that in the future she might regret the choices that she made now. I'm afraid of committing myself, she thought to herself. She wanted to follow all the possible paths, and so she ended up following none. We can't do everything, and that's okay. But it means that we must make some choices in life. Make choices. That strange mix of listening to our soul and our heart and our intuition and our reason and our relationships and have them all muddled together, and then from all that try and tease out a decision and a choice that will guide our lives. These choices, in fact, end up becoming our lives. Rebecca Parker writes in her poem, Choose to Bless the World. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can be used to serve and feed the hungry, to bind up wounds, to welcome the stranger, to do the work of justice or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, can hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It's an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There's an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, and insisting that that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who choose to bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting. Choose to bless the world. There are some choices we hold more closely, and blessing the world is one of them. These move from just being a choice and a decision in our life and can be transformed into our commitments, those things that we hold dearly to, our anchors that guide us. The choices we make with dedication and intentionality become our commitments. We might talk about our hopes for the world we wish to see, or maybe the person we hope to become. We might talk about this and think about this, but we all know that actions, of course, speak louder than words. And so we look to our own lives to see where there's a cognitive dissonance between what we hope for and what we do. Our commitments, those places where we try our best. We work hard and we stick with it over time. We're hopeful, but we might be uncertain of what the outcome will be. And so commitments oftentimes include a good deal of faith. But these kind of choices, the ones that become commitments to ourselves, to other people, and to our values, these change our lives in the world around us. Amy shared the story of William Ellery Channing and his commitments during our timefall ages. Olympia Brown was another Universalist who followed her deep commitment. She was born in 1835. It was almost as if Channing was passing the baton, he dying in 1825. Olympia Brown was raised in a household that really valued education and religion. And so after Olympia finished high school, she went on to college. Now, that wasn't done so much in that day, but she was committed to the idea of education, to learning and understanding about the world around her. And so she went to a college and she was handed a list of 40 restrictions for the women who would be attending that year. It became all the more clear about her place as a woman in this college when her chemistry professor said, "You're not expected to remember all of this, but only enough for you to make intelligent conversation." Sometimes our commitments are spurred on by challenges from the outside. So Olympia left that college and went to another one, Antioch College. She graduated from that college despite many more challenges and resistance from both sides. She decided that she was called into ministry, something not often done by women in that time. She was accepted to the theological school of St. Lawrence University, even though that the president of the school made it clear that women should not become ministers. Perhaps it was okay if they received the education. More challenges and more struggles, but yet she prevailed and graduated in 1863, becoming the first woman to graduate from an established theological school. Though the school wouldn't ordain her, she decided to appeal to the Universalist Council. Her plea was one for equality, quite simply. The Universalists agreed, knowing that they couldn't truly do this and hold true to their values. And so on June 25th, in 1865, Olympia Brown became the first woman ordained with official approval from a national organization. She went on to parish ministry, but also found herself hanging out with the likes of Susan B. Anthony and Lucy Stone, and became instrumental in the women's suffrage movement. She was committed. committed to her values, to her ideals, to education, to her call. She was committed. And I wonder how it is she stayed committed through all that. What kind of burning fire inside of her helped her toward that commitment, despite all that stood in her way, all the obstacles? I know this in my life is so true. I have ideas for what I want the world to look like, for what I want my life to look like, and my commitments to that fall short. It's not enough just to hope for a better world or a better self, but truly there have to be some kind of changes in our behavior before we can move into that space to make good on our commitments. The Reverend Eric Walker Wickstrom, the author of Spirit and Practice, offers us a suggestion for this. He says, after we have a commitment that we're hoping for, perhaps there's a spiritual practice we can tie to that. And he suggests 5 things to do to help us with our commitments. He says, when you're considering your commitment and how you're doing, establish a regular time, a regular way that you can check in with yourself to say, how am I doing? Here's my goal. Here are my values. Why am I committed to this? And where am I in the process? A regular time to do that introspective work. And the second thing is to create a place to do that, a place that's regular, that you come back to, that feels familiar. Maybe it's in your home, maybe it's on a walk, maybe it's a tree that you love, but check in with yourself and a place at the same time to ground yourself. Set a time limit. It doesn't have to happen all at once. Commitment understands the fact that it's a journey, an ongoing process that we are working toward. Fourth, he says, be gentle with yourself. It won't all happen at once, and it won't all happen perfectly. But be gentle with yourself as you're working toward this commitment. And lastly, he says, remember to be grateful for all that we have, for all that we hope, and for all that we are. That's what holds us and sustains our hopes. And so the question becomes for each of us, and the answer is different for each of us. What is it that you're committed to? To whom or what holds your hope? With intentionality, these shape your life. Maybe it's a specific justice cause. Maybe it's being a good parent or a child or a friend. Maybe it's a hope that you have for something you'd like to become. Become is our Soul Matters theme for next month, so we'll be thinking about how it is we become. The life we hope for takes effort. It's not automatic. We'll have obstacles along the way. We have choices to make. Choices that shape our commitments. In just a little bit, Flora J. Patrick and Chris Patrick will publicly share their choice, their commitment with us. A while back before COVID, remember that? We all sat around and planned what a ritual and a ceremony that they wanted to invite this community in, to witness and be a part of their relationship and union. And we planned out a great one, y'all. We planned out a good one. But COVID kept going, and they said, you know what? Enough. We want to share this now. We are together, and we want the community to be a part of that. They knew that our theme was commitment for this month, and they said, why don't we do it on Zoom? And we said, why don't we? We have choices to make, and our hands are full of them. Our hands are full. The Christian writer Augustine observed, God is always trying to give good things to us, but our hands are too full to receive them. And so we make choices. The Indian-American rapper Nimesh Nemo Patel made some choices. He lived his life. He wanted to make lots of money. He wanted Lamborghinis. He wanted fame and success. And so that's what he was committed to. And because he was committed, he succeeded. But then he felt something in his life was not there. And he made a different commitment. One to service, one to children, and one to his art. He began an offering he calls Empty Hands Music. And he has shifted his life and transformed it because he shifted his commitment. He shows us, and as we lift our own spirits with this song that he wrote, Keep Loving.
Whether you're different, same ignorant or intelligent, whether you tell the truth, lie or embellish it, whether you live in gratitude or for the hell of it, it doesn't really matter, it's still one single fellowship. Whether you've been lustful or living celibate, whether you're an optimist or only see the negative, whether you're dead broke or rich from inheritance, doesn't really matter, we're made of the same sediment. Whether you got a family or single parenting, or you're Asian, African, European or American, whether you pray to God or atheist is irrelevant, cause what you got inside is the same, it's all your preference. In the troubled and the homeless, can you say everywhere you are is where your home is? Sharing your heart in the dark just like a lotus, letting your light shine bright so you can flow there. Everlasting love of grace like those did Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna, Buddha and Moses, who carried the weight of the world upon their shoulders. So every time you fall down, go ahead and hold this close to your heart, cause you're a love soldier, and every time you get a chance you pay it forward, moving closer to heaven's gates. We're all soaring because of you. Love is where we're headed towards. It'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you start to change your life. Everything you touch, everyone you see will soon become your sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair, gotta spread the love where nobody cares. Gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair. So keep loving, it'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you'll start to change. So keep loving. Keep loving, gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair, gotta spread the love where nobody cares. Gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair. So keep loving, it'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you'll start to change. So keep loving, you touch, everyone you see will soon become your friend. So keep loving.
Kind friends all gather round. There's something I would say, that what brings us together here has blessed us all today. Love has made a circle that holds us all inside, where strangers are as family and loneliness can't hide. Give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to these mountains in the rain. I've learned to love the wind. I've been up before the sunrise to watch the day begin. I always knew I'd find you, though I never did know how. And like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before me now. Give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is born of fire. It's planted like a seed. And love can't give you everything, but it gives you what you need. Love comes when you are ready. Love comes when you're afraid. It will be your greatest teacher, the best friend you have made. So give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourselves to love.
How beautiful is this day touched by love. May this be a moment to be remembered and shared and cherished amongst you, but amongst all of us. We honor today what has already happened between the two of you. In fact, you have fallen in love, and you have bound your hearts with one another. But you chose to share that with this community, to profess your love publicly and invite us into that relationship as well. We are all a part of this relationship as people who love and care about you. And so, although unconventional and through Zoom, you are surrounded right now by the spirits and the love of so many in this community who know you and know you well, who know your relationship and will support you. And so, I want to ask all the folks who are watching on your Zoom at home, we are a part of this beautiful union. We are a part of this relationship because of our care for this couple. If you pledge to support and be with them throughout their days, for joy and for struggle, for laughter and for tears, will you just please unmute your computer and say, I do. We can hear.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do. I will.
You are indeed surrounded by people not in this room, and by people here not on this earth who have moved on in memory. Let us just take a moment and bow our heads for a moment of silence to honor those who are with us today in memory, in our hearts and our souls. They're not with us today in body, but they are certainly here with us in spirit. Amen. Having a commitment to each other is a very special spiritual connection of two people united for a common purpose. The purpose will take on many forms and will come through you in many different ways, but in some ways, you've become each other's purpose, to be shared, to live life, to wonder, to wander, but to be with each other. We've come together in the presence of this love to witness and bless the joining of these two. You all, like many, had a first date, a first meeting, a first encounter, where you didn't quite know each other yet. Coffee in the old mill. Innocent enough, strictly organic. Or as you know it now, Susie Hickman's office. You knew a little bit about each other before because you met through a dating app, which means you knew that that's why coffee first might be a good way to go about it. Flora, you thought, he's cute. He's into the outdoors, camping, hiking. He likes dogs. And Chris, you thought she's cute. There's a pumpkin costume involved, and also travel and outdoors. You had some things in common, so why not coffee to check it out? Though your niece knew Chris before you got together. Oh yeah, I know him, she said, and a romance began. There were some good haircuts involved, thank goodness. Magic words were spoken, like an appreciation for hot tubs and for Scrabble. And like the Scrabble board, points were accumulated between the two of you the more time you spent. And so you continued the conversation, as you said, on your second date for sushi. A third date, a fourth, and soon it became clear that you were a couple. Conversations weren't that difficult when it transitioned between being a couple dating and considering a long-term relationship. This transition was in no small part guided by the acceptance of Rosie, your dog, Flora, who accepted Chris with some hand sniffs and a welcome heart. By this point in your lives, you knew that you wanted a relationship. You knew what you wanted in a relationship, and you knew what you didn't want in a relationship. So now you find yourselves talking about the depths of feelings and exploring the minutiae of the day with equal joy. You hear each other's opinions, truly hear them, and are changed and adapted by them. You express your needs, feel free to do so, and trust the other will reach out in ways that they can to help. Understanding our limitations, that we can't do all for the other, but we can hold space, and we can continue to love the other. You bring your whole self into this relationship. You consider one another. When you're away from each other, you long to be back in each other's company, as you found when Chris was away at his father's bedside as he died. And so here you are now together, sharing life, getting stuck in the snow and figuring out how to get out together, both literally and metaphorically, I suppose. And so I offer you these words of commitment that we heard earlier. May they guide your marriage as well. As you're considering your commitment to one another and your love, your life together, do this regularly. Establish a regular time to consider your love, to consider the other. Create a special place for the two of you to return to over and over again, to consider what it is that you are to each other, your promises and your vows, and your life hoped for. Set a time limit. Don't spend all your time thinking about commitments and who you are, but just be together, for that is the joy of your marriage, simply being together. Be gentle with yourself and with each other. It won't be perfect. You won't get it all right. You'll fail. You'll need forgiveness. Be gentle with yourselves and with each other. And remember to be grateful. Remember the blessing that you are to one another and all that surrounds you and all that you have in life. Remember to be grateful, for there is much to be grateful for. If you do these, you will stay with one another in life and love. You'll be committed. You will continue this love on into the future. And so you've come to make a public commitment today in front of your friends, in front of this fellowship, to share this love. I'll ask you to turn and face one another. Chris, do you reach out in love to receive Flora and choose to share your life with her? Will you promise always to give her your expression of your ever-growing love? Will you comfort her, be sensitive to her, express your feelings with her, listen to her, put your trust in her, and forsaking all others, be her intimate friend and honor her as your equal partner? If so, please say, I will.
I will.
And Flora, do you reach out in love to receive Chris and choose to share your life with him? Will you promise always to give him your expression of your ever-growing love? Will you comfort him, be sensitive to his needs, express your feelings with him, listen to him, put your trust in him, and forsaking all others, be his intimate friend and honor him as your equal partner? If so, please say, I will.
I will.
And Chris, I'll ask you to repeat after me. I give you my love.
I give you my love.
My heart, my hope, my joy.
My heart, my hope, and my joy.
These I offer you freely.
These I offer you freely.
To delight in your soul.
To delight in your soul.
To nourish your mind.
To nourish your mind.
To celebrate love with you.
To celebrate love with you.
To share my joy.
To share my joy.
To console you in sorrow.
To console you in sorrow.
I choose to go with you always.
I choose to go with you always.
I promise to listen to you.
I promise to listen to you.
To express my innermost feelings.
To express my innermost feelings.
To labor with you.
To labor with you.
To believe in you.
To believe in you.
Even when you doubt yourself.
Even when you doubt yourself.
To be the mirror of your highest value.
To be the
mirror of your highest value.
Mirror of your highest value.
And to hold myself beside you.
And to hold myself beside you.
For the rest of our days.
For the rest of our days.
And Flora, repeat after me. I give you my love.
I give you my love.
My heart, my hope, my joy.
My heart, my hope, my joy.
These I offer you freely.
These I offer you freely.
To delight in your soul.
To delight in your soul.
To nourish your mind.
To nourish your mind.
To celebrate love with you.
To celebrate love with you.
To share my joy.
To share my joy.
To console you in sorrow.
To console you in sorrow.
I choose to go with you always.
I choose to go with you always.
I promise to listen to you.
I promise to listen to you.
To express my innermost feelings.
To express my innermost feelings.
To labor with you.
To labor with you.
To believe in you.
To believe in you.
Even when you doubt yourself.
Even when you doubt yourself.
To be the mirror of your highest value.
To be the mirror of your highest value.
And to hold myself beside you.
And to hold myself beside you.
For the rest of our days.
For the rest of our days.
And you have ring to exchange. As you place this ring on Flora's finger, please say, with this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring I thee wed.
This ring is an outward symbol of your inward love for one another, so that the world might know what has happened here today. By virtue of the words spoken in celebration of your relationship, and because your love is true, and your love is real, and your love is forward-looking and grounds you both, I now pronounce you husband and wife, wife and husband, partners in life. You may seal your covenant with a kiss. This commitment can be a great adventure when it's the outward expression of a great love. Such a love is characterized by compassion and passion and courage. May you have all of these in your relationship and have them in full amount. We offer you this reminder and this blessing. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance that the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. Your future begins now. Your future begins every day. The choices that you make, and you choose each other over and over. The commitments that you hold, committed to each other, day after day, year after year. I now pronounce you and present you to the fellowship through our technology, Chris and Flor Patrick.
And you're clapping out there.
As an additional special treat, a live version of Fire of Commitment.
From the light of days remembered, words of beacon bright and clear, giving hands and hearts and spirits in faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. And the stories of our living brings us on board brave and free, holding pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment, then our future can begin. Dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice, behind our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then
If you've lit a chalice in your home, we invite you to extinguish it at this time as we say together the covenant of this fellowship. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our great covenant
to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We invite you to join us after our service today for our virtual coffee hour. We'll be asking the question and exploring it, what is it that you're committed to? It's a joyous day, whatever it is in your life that's calling you. We hope for you the ability to go forward to that. And we want to be the community that provides the support to do so. Olympia Brown wrote these words: "Stand by this faith, work for it, and sacrifice for it. There is nothing in all the world so important as to be loyal to this faith which has been placed before us and offers us its loftiest ideals, which has comforted us in sorrow, strengthened us for noble duty, and made the world beautiful. Do not demand immediate results, but rejoice that we are worthy to be entrusted with this great message, that you are strong enough to work for a great true principle without counting the cost. Go on finding ever new applications of these truths and new enjoyment in their contemplation, always trusting in the one God which ever lives and loves." Go forward in this day with joy in your heart and courage for your commitments. We celebrate with Chris and Flora. It's a joy to be with you in this day. Go in peace, go in love, and know that even though if we're not all in one space, we do go together. Amen.